Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Circle Debate Podcast. It's the host of Devious One, Ivan C. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by an honorary guest who's an absolute favorite of ours, especially for our other host, the CT1, Chris Kennedy. But man, this individual has been in the business for quite some time. He has made a name for himself, most definitely. And that's why he is the best of the best. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Austin. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's such an honor. I really hated that Chris couldn't be here, but yeah, I hate that. We'll have to do it again because trust me, I plan on trying to win several more of the matches of the week.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. And he's looking forward, so he's a big fan as well as I am as well for you.
Awesome.
So awesome. So let's go ahead and down. Obviously, we have some marquee question that everybody asked, but I would like for you to go ahead and put it in your words and for our viewers and subscribers to get to know the best of the best. So how did the journey begin for you in professional wrestling for Mr. Austin Lee?
Well, my journey started probably a lot longer ago than people think. But yeah, many years ago, right out of high school, I've always been a fan of wrestling. Like I'd wake up on Saturday mornings and sit with my grandma, and I'd eat cereal and watch cartoons, and then Memphis wrestling, and then of course I'd watch the NWA Power Hour and WWF whenever I was able to get it. But I was just so enamored with the characters. And the crazy thing is, before I even became in the wrestling business, I kind of learned the ins and outs like on my own, because I actually had like a ring built in the backyard, and me and my brother and a few of his friends would go out there and wrestle. Yeah. But knowing that I was a lot bigger and older than they were, I knew they wouldn't keep coming and playing wrestling with me. So I, without them knowing, kind of let them beat me a few times and, just keep them going. So, before I really knew, a lot about the wrestling business, I kind of figured it out on my own. But then, I guess I would say when I was 18, a boy was picking on my brother. And when he was, he's a lot bigger boy. And I ended up going outside and protecting my brother. And I grabbed the guy in like a front face lock and I choked him out. So like the next day, I see this big gigantic guy like walking down the street toward our house, and I looked out and I realized it was this kid's dad, who was just a huge guy, and just so happened to be a professional wrestler. And but what ended up happening is he came down there and asked me. He said, "Where did you learn that at?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "The move you did where you choked out my son. Where did you learn that?" And I said, "Well, I watch wrestling and, I kind of study everything." And he's like, "Well, how would you like to become a professional wrestler?" Oh. So, yeah, so it's actually a crazy story. And then I ended up like training in a little bitty like dance hall. And believe it or not, I'm not making this up. I know people will think I am, but a town called Dixie, Arkansas.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yes. I'm talking. There's no houses there. I mean, there's no houses, no actual population, but there was like this dance hall, I guess, that people went and had their hoedowns or square dances or whatever it was. But yeah, it was in Dixie, Arkansas, is where I started training. And then of course, I was trained by a couple guys here in Arkansas, Jay Murdoch and Tico Murdoch, and then as not long after that, I met with the guy who polished me up and actually taught me how to wrestle and taught me how to work, which was, I'm sure you know who he is, the new effing show, Jerry Lynn.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Of course. That's Jesus, man. That guy, I bowed out to him.
Yes, absolutely. He taught me so much. I mean, he's my wrestling dad. We still talk to this day. I mean, every week, and just about. We go on vacation together at times, and yeah, he's just family. He's Uncle Jerry to my kids.
Oh, that's awesome. That is very awesome. And so, wow, I can't believe it. You know what's funny? I have a buddy of mine that actually lives in Arkansas, but I do apologize for not remembering what part of Arkansas. But that's shocking to me. I did not know that it was just like just empty, and it was just like, oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the movie Deliverance, I think they filmed it there because it's corn and wheat fields, and then just this building that you could tell they had like they had basketball goals that were tore down from before. I guess they had it was called the Dixie Dance. It's since been tore down, but there was other guys that actually trained there in that building, not the same time as I am. You may have heard of them. It's one of them is Mr. Derek the King.
Oh, of course. And
we'll get into that. Of course, and then of course the other one. I mean, I know that he's 5-star, but it's Dustin 5-star. You know, he trained a little bit there also.
Oh, okay. So out of your class, where you were training at the time, so who is there still someone currently performing at this time besides, you know, King and Dustin started training that facility? But is there anybody like any particular person that is still performing when you began training there in the facility?
Actually, no. And the thing, like, I was in my own class when I first got there. I mean, they started teaching me. I trained for about a week straight every night and just beat my rear end, you know, all over the place. I mean, they taught me the old school way. You know, they never taught me that it was, you know, that the show part of it for a long time. But the very first week, I trained all week long, and the first week they had a show there, and most of them were older guys. So, and a lot of them have since retired, and a few of them have passed away that was on that show that helped train at that time. But, you know, the first week there, I show up, you know, and I put up the ring, which I had to put up and take down the ring every night, even though they had it stationary there because I was paying my dues. So I cleaned the building, put up the ring, take down the ring. But after I put up the ring on the night of their show, he comes up to me and he says, "Do you have any gear?" And I said, "Well, no, sir, I don't." And he said, "Well, we're really shorthanded, so you're going to have to work tonight." So I was in the locker room, and another wrestler let me borrow a pair of boots, and another wrestler let me borrow a pair of tights. And, you know, I went out there, and one of the older guys kind of stretched me a little bit, but they could tell I listened real well, and I was very safe in the ring with this older gentleman, and it ended up opening the door. And after that, I was training during the week, and then I would go and actually wrestle on that weekend at their show. And then a few minutes later, I found out that, you know, I didn't have to try to hurt the other guys much. that you know, this might be a little bit of part of a show, you know. But I was taught the old way, you know, what a lot of people in the business call a shooter. You know, I was taught the real ways, and then after that, I was taught how not to do it and hurt somebody.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for your first match, I mean, like, were you nervous? Were you kind of like a little green at the time? But how did you feel? Like, just getting that vibe from the crowd. How was that feeling for the first time?
Well, I was very green. I mean, especially, you know, being only a weekend. But as far as like being nervous, man, I've been an entertainer since I was, you know, a kid. You know, whether it's, you know, trying to put on shows for the neighborhood. I was the lead role in every play I was in high school. I mean,
That's awesome.
really good as far as entertaining. You know, and I played football for my high school in Newport, and we were always like a nationally or state ranked team, like a really good team, and, you know, a huge crowd every single Friday night. And, you know, I just kind of never really got nervous as far as crowd. I always get nervous, get a little bit of butterflies before I go into a match, only because I'm a perfectionist. You know, I'm a guy that wants to make sure everything is just spot on, and I'm a worst critic. But as far as like nerves for the crowd, you know, it was just kind of natural for me. I mean, I went out there and I did what I could to entertain, I guess.
Absolutely. And throughout your journey, so what was like the other promotions that you actually performed for the, you know, other than the original facility where you were training, but other than that, what other promotions you started to go ahead and actually performing for? And throughout the time, throughout your journey, how did you develop your character, you know, develop Austin Lane, the best of the best? How did that became in fruition, developing that character as you were going down through your journey and performing in other promotions?
Right. So I did like some of the smaller promotions around the Mid-South area, you know, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas for a little while. And I ranged from anything from, I was the heartthrob Austin Lane. I was a biker at one point, Canadian at one point, believe it or not, with this accent. Yeah. And for some reason, people believed it. You know, I really couldn't, you know, other than saying You know, I didn't have a Canadian accent. I sound like I'm from the South. You know, I'm just a good old boy. You know, I was brought up old fashioned. You know, with my dad, it was very old fashioned. You know, pull out the seat for a lady. You know, open the door for them. You know, always protect and provide for your family. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So I've got that Southern accent, that Southern drawl. You know, but people believed I was Canadian. But Jerry was actually the one that said, you know, at this point, he said, just be you. He said, you've got to be, Austin Lane has to be yourself turned up to an 11. Yeah. So I thought about it, you know, and I was growing up, I always loved, you know, the guys who were, I mean, yeah, I loved the Boogie Woogie Man, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, and guys like that, but like Bobby Eaton, beautiful Bobby Eaton, guys, and, you know, Ric Flair and guys like that, Bret Hart. I mean, they were, when I watch the show, I watch their matches and think, wow, those guys know what they're doing and they're going out there to, you know, to win the match. You know, they're aggressive. And that's just kind of the way I've always been. Football, soccer, you know, whatever sport I played a lot of sports. I'm very, very competitive. So the best of the best Austin Lane came from, I decided to just turn myself up and just be better than everyone else in the business. So every show I went to steal the show, and I've got multiple awards. I mean, they're for match of the year, rest of the year, for different promotions, that kind of stuff, because they knew that they could bring me in. But I was going to be kind of and I know a lot of people, it's kind of hush to say his name, but I was kind of going to be the next Chris Benoit as far as, you know, intensity in the ring. And I mean, that's just kind of the way I am. It's just my intensity turned up to 11. That's the best of the best Austin Lane.
And honestly, to input on that, honestly, yes, I definitely see that. When I've seen your matches, I've, you know, besides the Indian Championship Wrestling for Memphis, but seen your prior matches in Cape, you know, Championship Wrestling. I've seen that. But definitely, I agree with you. You have that input. You have that technicality style, Benoit's, a little bit of Bret Hart. And you do have a little Jerry Lynn in you, too. You do have a little Jerry Lynn in you, too. I can definitely tell. And I love it. That's how you won me over personally, just by watching your matches and how you call the matches itself. And, you know, my other host and I, we were intrigued. And, this is our guy. So we need to get him on the show. That's how we were.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's my honor. Yeah, I mean, I've taken so much from him. I kind of used that. A lot of my character is Jerry Lynn. I'm just a lot better looking and younger one, in case he's watching. Sorry, Jerry, I love you. But I mean, because I kind of twist the new school with the old school mentality, and I can do all the big spots, the high spots, but I like the psychology, the storytelling is 100% of what I do, and you'll see that in the coming weeks. I mean, like with Cape Championship Wrestling, I got started with those guys because a buddy of mine that owns it, run it, Jason Wells, was bringing in Ricochet. Yeah. And so he called me up and he said, hey, listen, I'm bringing in Ricochet. He's like, you're the guy that can keep up with him. You're the guy that can go out there and tear the house down. And he said, Ricochet, this is going to be an hour from his hometown, you know, and his son's going to be able to be there, his family. And he wants to go out there and just tear it up, like hold nothing back. And like I told him, I was like, I hold nothing back anyways. It doesn't matter if I have 2 people or, 20,000. I'm going to go out there and give 110%. I'll come out there, you know, beat up and bruised up, but I'm giving everything I have every time. So, I came in and I wrestled Ricochet and we hit it off big time and became really good friends after that. I mean, he's an amazing talent, probably the most athletic guy I've ever seen or been in the ring with. And I've been in the ring with a ton of them, including AJ Styles. Yeah. But Ricochet is, man, he's got so much talent. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Definitely. Oh my God. By the way, I've seen that match, by the way, man. Honestly, man, you and Ricochet stole the show for me.
Thank you.
I honestly felt like a little kid again. I ain't gonna lie. Even though I'm almost 40, I mean, I'm 38, but still, I feel like a kid. Yeah. I'm still a kid regardless. I'm still a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, my wife always gives me that. My wife's like, really? Like, yes. So
I'm the same exact way. I've got all the toys and everything and the collectibles, and yeah, I'm still a kid at heart. Also older than you, by the way, but yeah, I'm still a kid at heart. And yeah, even like with Ricochet, what I loved about it was I was able to put that match together. First time ever meeting him, and we just hit it off so well. I mean, being able to, that same company, I appreciate that company so much. I was able to wrestle for the NWA title against Nick Aldis. I wrestled, Christopher Daniels on their pay-per-view. I wrestled, Tommy Dreamer. I wrestled, Sean Spears, so many different guys. And of course, the first guy to actually give him a chance that helped him, to get on there. It was my match, that one match of the year with Marko Stunt in his first ever match there.
Yes, another great match as well. Definitely.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
that show.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now. That was
I remember seeing him in like several weeks before, or several months before that. He was coming out doing like a comedy character, kind of like a bodyguard for the SEAL group there. So I told Jason, the owner, I was like, "Hey, man, give me Marko, give me 15 minutes, and let me open the show." And he's like, "Man, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know." He's like, "Man, just give me Marko, give me time, and let me open the show. That's all you got to do." He's like, "Okay, you got Marko," and we set the match up, and yeah, the rest is history.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's fantastic, man. You did mention earlier as well about calling the matches, and I did, I asked Precious when I had him on the show, but I want to, get everybody's input because I'm so curious, because you and Precious, not that by far, when you guys began in your careers. So my question to you is your opinion about it. Obviously, you learned from the past, previously how to call matches in the ring, and nowadays, currently, we're seeing more being called before them, before actual physicality, began. Right. How do you feel about calling matches? Do you feel that it should they just go with, for example, like if you're in front of a crowd, let's say you have the match already planned up, so by the time you get into the ring, the crowd's already there, but then you feel the crowd differently, and now you got to change the match, differently. But some don't, though, that I've noticed. So but getting your opinion, do you feel that people, especially who are getting into the business, should stick with that old school mentality of calling the match by the year instead of calling it before, physically touching each other?
I think honestly, it's very important to be able to do both. Right. Like when around the Mid-South area here, before I started traveling off, everything was called in the ring and we were able to adapt. But, if I travel somewhere and I'm wrestling someone for the first time, I like to call some of it, or at least get an idea, find out what kind of moves he does really well that is, what does he do well that looks really good, and let me piece it together and tell a story out of it. Right. Kind of thing. But, like with TNA, all the guys there, it was always, we go over the match 3 or 4 or 5 times, had the whole thing set, and it might tweak just a little bit depending on the crowd, but not very much. It wouldn't tweak a whole lot. But right, I'm able, especially if I go to a new place and I wrestle someone for the first time. I like to at least get a game plan on what we're planning on doing. If the guy is more comfortable with calling the entire thing, I can call an hour-long match in the back and remember the entire thing. I'm one of a lot of my friends go with the kind of like a wrestling genius, because I can remember everything, and I know like all the reversals and all this other stuff, and I kind of help teach people. That's what I enjoy most, is being the teacher. But I'd like to kind of get a game plan with guys, at least that way, I know what they can do. And a lot of times if I'm able to call their spots for them, like Ricochet, I was calling his spots for him out there. And, they're impressed with it, for one, because I'm able to remember their spots, but we can kind of twist, and like the Ricochet match, I say probably 65% of that was called in the back. The rest of it was kind of, I knew the direction we were going. So I kind of would piece it whenever I felt that it was appropriate as far as the crowd. Cause I kind of pay attention to that. Like the time I wrestled the Steiner brothers in a tag team match in front of 17,000 people. And I know the Steiner brothers moves. I've watched them as kids growing up, and I was able to go out there and they wanted ahead of time because they didn't know it. They didn't know me at the time, but they wanted to call everything beforehand. So we kind of, knew what was going on. Then by the time we got out there and they realized that, hey, you know, I'm right there with them. We just kind of started going off script, and it was really fun. I mean, it just in the middle of nowhere, you know, you back up the rope and Scott Steiner grabs your arm and you say, all right, shoot me up. Give me a Frankensteiner. And it's just cool. You know, I always called it, you know, either the Frankensteiner or the Hurricane Rana, you know, as it's changed over the years. But yeah, just being able to call that spot to him was just, it was surreal at the moment.
Right. And you mentioned TNA. So how was that experience, you know, because, you know, you came out on TNA Explosion, I believe you did, in a 6-man tag. But how was that experience in TNA at that time? And I'm not quite sure who was running it at the time. I don't know if it was Carter or I think it was after Jared, right? So this was more Dixie, or was it, who wasn't really running the show at that time?
This was Jarrett, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This was
Jared.
Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff, you know, Bill Behrens and all those guys. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I loved it. The company that helped me get the booking there originally, Down South Championship Wrestling, it wasn't an official, because they didn't have an official one, but it was kind of like their, I guess you would say, kind of their developmental group, because we had all of the girls before the Knockouts division started. We had, you know, ODB and Tracy Brooks and Angel Williams at the time, who became Angelina Love, you know, and all of those guys, all those girls, you know, we kind of started the Knockouts division. And then I was working a program at DCW with Elix Skipper, with AJ, with Sonny Siaki. Or Sonny Siaki, I don't even know how many times. But yeah, Siaki was amazing. We just go out there and just, we apologized ahead of time, and then we went out there and just killed it every time. But I actually won a independent match of the year through one of the publications with Elix Skipper one year. Oh my God. And yeah, Elix, I love Elix. Elix is one of my good friends, and David Young. And, you know, the TNA experience was just, it was amazing, because I was there quite a few times. I only did the dark match there, not dark match, the explosion match. It was a 6-man with, and at the time it was his debuting. It was Hernandez. Yeah, was a part of the elite guard. Yeah, and it was really cool, because, you know, we did it was the first border toss, and as soon as he chunked me. And as soon as I got back to the locker room, I remember Sanjay Dutt coming up to me and saying, that was the most amazing bump I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, well, I felt every bit of it. Because I think it may have been the first week, or maybe it was the second week, with the 6-sided ring. And that ring is unforgiving.
Oh, my God. To say the least. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure it has to take a lot of endurance to be in a 6-sided ring compared to like an original 4-sided ring. I'm pretty sure. Oh, my God. Also wanted to ask, so out of all the matches you had that you mentioned all the names earlier, also forgot, I don't know if you did wrestle also Petey Williams, right? Yes, yeah. I wrestled him 3 times in one weekend. Yeah. Oh, wow. Good friend of mine. Yeah, we did a show, 2 shows in Mississippi and 1 in Arkansas for the and it was all 3 of them were for the X Division title, where, you know, he was doing the Little Papa Pump gimmick at the time. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, we became really good friends from that. Still talk to him every once in a while, but yeah, it was amazing wrestling Petey. Petey is another one. He's a guy that, he's just so talented. If he was a foot taller, he would have main evented WrestleMania 4 times. Right. He's just that good. Yeah, definitely. Which I'm kind of glad that kind of changed now. I'm glad that you know, that 6'7" or 6'6" is obsolete now, and it's more on, you know, 5'11", 5'10" people, because that's what, honestly, if it wasn't, I would say, what, for Benoit himself or Guerrero, even Daniel Bryan, none of them, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't for them, they would not be noticeable of what it is now. Which I'm glad that it's now getting its recognition where it needs to be, you know, recognized. Right. But out of all these matches, which way you can say, so you could say that basically Ricochet was the main one that took the next level of over 120% of Austin Lane, or who else can you say out of all those names that took out the best of you besides Ricochet? Oh, yeah. Most, especially if I get in the ring, I wrestled so many big names, I honestly couldn't name all of them. But you know, Ricochet, Petey Williams, AJ Styles, Jerry on multiple occasions. Of course, Marko.
and there's a lot of guys, not just those names, but there's a lot of guys in this area and around independent wrestling in general that are just amazing talents that we go out there and I give my best with no matter with who it is. But it was, it's one of those where I like to pick out the guy who I think is one of the best workers around. I want to tell a story. I want to draw people in, because I really, I don't have the honky tonk man character. Or I don't have a character like the Crowleys, who are amazing talents in the ring, by the way. Yes. I mean, they haven't even scratched the surface of what these guys can do. Guys like the Young Goats are in the Skimmerhorns, and the Skimmerhorns better be, because they had a pretty good trainer. So, yeah.
There we go. Well, just because of that, I'll let you know I will be having them on the show too.
Awesome.
So they'll be on the show as well. The Young Goats will be on the show, and I'm gonna put them on the spot.
The Young Goats, the Skimmerhorns. Believe it or not, I mean, Championship Wrestling in Memphis has some of the if not close, they might have the best tag team division in the world. I mean, the amount of talent, you just haven't even seen it yet, because a lot of times we're building toward stories, and you're going to get more time. But like right now, I mean, you go out there and you see the Young Goats versus, the Russell Twins or the Skimmerhorns or whomever, the Crowleys, and they have, 6 minutes. 6 minutes is nothing. Yeah. When you see these guys go out for 30 minutes, then you're going to be blown away with the amount of talent these guys have. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, there's guys like that, that I want to get in the ring with, like the Goats and the Crowleys I've been in the ring with before, Jackson several times.
Yeah.
But they most, I mean, I'm going to give everything I have with every person to kind of circle around to your answer. But yeah, the matches, I think the match that with Ricochet was the one where I said, okay, if this is my last match, I'm fine with it, because I'm leaving everything in the ring and I'm going to go out there and just tear the house down, and just, I'm going to have WrestleMania main event right there. And I've done that a few times. I mean, whether it's a guy named Del Tucker, Anton LaVey, like there's been so many different guys that a lot of people don't know of. And it's really a shame, because they're so talented. There's, the indie scene is so saturated that, you don't get to see as much of these guys. But you really need to go out to all of your indie shows that are close by, any kind of independent show, AJ Gray, and guys like that. Go out and watch those shows, because you'd be amazed on how much talent is there that 99% of the country just don't even know about.
I absolutely agree. I'm with you 100% on, and that's the reason, more like here on Circle Debate is we highlight people with a lot of talent like yourself, that are needs that exposure, because it's like never had that platform. Yes, back in I grew up also within that era time, with a developmental era time, you could say, because it wasn't like much of an indie scene, because there was only one global, promotion. But now that is, I'm glad that it's becoming now more. It expanded out. Now it's really, reviving that territory scene all over, the world, all over the state. And I love it. And you're absolutely right about that. That there's a lot of hidden talent that people are not, don't know about. And even though we're old school, we could say, we could thank technology for it nowadays, because now you're able to have, YouTube, or even on a Title Match Network, Fight TV, or IWTV. Well, as long as we have those platforms now, we're able to have the availability to see them. But if not, like how you said, go to a live performance, go to a live show. And I'm happy that the doors are kind of opening now, little by little. Hopefully by then everybody's vaccinated, and hopefully we could, get rid of this global pandemic bastard and get back to normal lives,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. There's so much talent like throughout the whole world. I mean, for a long time, when I was younger, I was the indie darling without the internet kind of thing. So, it was the guy like trailing around and tearing the house down with different guys. And I always called myself like wrestling's best kept secret. And the thing is like, there's so many guys that are talented that can, I mean, whether you can see the next CM Punk, the next Ric Flair, the next Ricky Steamboat, Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks. They're out there now, and there are guys out there probably more talented than they are that just haven't been seen yet and been discovered.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I agree. I mean, over here for us in California, how it started, it was just more of a website. We had SoCalUncensored.com.
Right.
That helped us out getting to know, even though YouTube hadn't existed at that time. Barely, AOL was coming out, NetZero, all that. But he at least created that platform of where the independent promotions are located and where to see. Because he will go to the shows himself and write down, his blogs, giving, his opinions. And that's how we, myself, I got intrigued in how I'm kind of wanted to get into business. I tried it out too, but I kind of hurt myself. So if I can't do, physical training in the ring to become a wrestler, okay, I'll do something else. So started, looking into commentating, podcasting. So I've been doing my life.
Well, you're good at what you do, that's for sure.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. So, besides pro wrestling, I see that you're a head coach for a football team, huh? For Newport football team, is that correct?
Well, yeah. I actually am the head coach during the Pee Wee program, and then I help out with the high school. I'm on the radio. I've got so many different jobs, I guess you could say. I'm an umpire in charge in this area. And I travel and umpire in different areas. I'm really involved with the community and the kids. And I like to help, the kids out. I got kids of my own, grandkid now. So, I'm really, I'm trying to give back to the community that gave to me so many years ago.
Oh, man. And I love it, man. That's the beauty of it. Giving back to the community, why not? And I commend you. You're doing a fantastic job. Yeah. Fantastic job. I also noticed that did you, correct if I'm wrong, and I apologize, but did you had a tryout with WWE before? It looked like you had a tryout. Yeah,
the times I went there several times, and most of the time it was there only as a, an extra, and then we kind of, were able to work out in the ring for them. And of course, the times I went there, I think I went there maybe six or 8 times, something like that. And I was doing the extra work, and we'd get just a few minutes here and there. And it took me a little while to get, I was able to get in the ring for, 2 or 3 minutes with, and with like Jamie Noble and Arn Anderson watching in, and, another guy that's extremely talented, a guy named Poker Face from around here. Me and him went out there, and I remember we got noticed because while other guys were getting in the ring and just bouncing around and trying to show off, well, me and Poker Face were on the outside of the ring on the apron, and it's not like an official tryout or anything at this time. Okay. And myself and Poker Face go about 30 minutes of nothing but just hold for hold and reversals and different ones, and people just started watching. I think that's when they realized that these guys know what they're doing, and it, I had the tryout, and I didn't really get we didn't really get watched all that much because those days were extremely busy at the time, especially they were doing the guest host for Raw, and then of course SmackDown. We were doing like being a druid several times for the Undertaker, but we didn't get actually watched a whole lot. And then Jamie Noble got my number, and he said, hey, I'll give you a call. He's like, let's I guess try to set up more of an official kind of thing, as far as tryout. But believe it or not, I think on one of my last ones, coming back from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I actually called my wife, and I told her, I was like, it's what most people's dream is going to the WWE. But like I told her, I was like, man, it's not really my dream. So, I stopped contacting them and stuff like that. Like I told her, I prefer to be, I cut my teeth on the indies, and I prefer to be there helping other guys. Because a guy my size, I've never had a 6-pack for one, but I was pretty lean and back then, and I've had a lot of injuries since then. But I'm 5'11" on a good day, and they at the time they're hiring guys. You had to be at least 6'3" or above, so. They weren't looking for a guy my size at the time. And like I told her, I was like, I'm going to go there and, work their style, and kind of just, do what they need me to do, because it's the job. It's what it is. It's a job. But like I told her, I was like, I'm more interested in being able, I'm an artist. I want to be able to create my vision, not their vision. So like I told her, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. As far as, pursuing the WWE,
right.
I wanted more of creative control over what I did in the ring, and I'm not big headed at all. I'll put anybody over. I've actually wrestled and put over a broomstick before, but and he actually worked better than than a lot of guys that I've wrestled over the years. But that's here or there. But no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm kind of an artist. I want to be able to paint my picture, and then I want to be able to help other people learn how to paint their picture, kind of thing. And it's just the way I am. And that's what I love. And that's why, like with Championship Wrestling for Memphis, or any promotion I've been to, I've always been kind of the guy to go to, and I kind of help people out. But with Championship Wrestling for Memphis, I'm actually one of the producers there, and agenting and helping guys, help tell stories, and helping them to develop characters, as well as stepping in the ring also myself, which, I mean, it's always, especially around this area, it's a dream to be on Memphis Wrestling. Oh, no matter what the name is, whether it's USWA Wrestling, Renegade, Power Pro, which I was able actually to do Power Pro, but it was I guess you kind of say the reboot version of it. Yeah. Randy Hales had done, he'd done Power Pro Wrestling before, and then he kind of rebooted it in Ripley, Tennessee. This was several years ago. And Alan Steele and myself were both there. And as a matter of fact, Alan Steele was the Power Pro champion. And then I beat him for the title. And at the time, what was really cool about it is being able to hold that Southern Heavyweight Championship, and knowing that at that time, and still to this day, I guess, as his Power Pro has been officially gone, there was only two people to ever be the Power Pro Heavyweight Champion and be undefeated at that time. And that was Austin Lane and a guy that you may have heard of named Kurt Angle. Yeah. Oh, that's right. So, yeah, I thought it was really cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, I was able to do that. But, being able to, the Championship Wrestling for Memphis, it just, I get excited and nervous, before each taping, because just the history and the heritage, which, is why the title is called the Memphis Heritage Championship. The Absolutely. Heritage, and knowing that the guys that, paved the way before us, I'm walking that same road, and being able to perform in the same way that they did, whether, one of the greatest, I think, of all time, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I mean, he was just so good, and such, he was a genius. Yeah. And like, Bobby Eaton, a guy like Bobby Eaton, who's become a really good friend of mine, is an amazing human being. Yes, he is. And just following his footsteps. I mean, it does tell you a quick story of Bobby Eaton. Many years ago, when my grandmother had passed away, and didn't tell anyone, and just right here in my small town, and we were at the funeral home, at the visitation, myself, my wife, my parents, and everybody, and then all of a sudden I hear, a lot of whispering and people looking toward the door, and I turn around, and beautiful Bobby Eaton's walking into the funeral home to pay his respects to my grandmother that he'd never met before, by the way. But just because, that's the type of guy he is. He's got that heart that just, and, those are the guys, like that I want to make proud, the ones that have passed, the ones that are still alive. I want them to be proud of what I put out there and know that I'm carrying on their legacy. Right.
And you have, and you still are doing it. And most definitely 100% you are. And you have fans. Believe it or not, you have fans. So believe it, you have fans. I mean, this is, even though we're in California, but hey, we're rooting for you from all over here from California, here in Los Angeles. So yes, we are. I
appreciate it. Yeah, I might have to make me a trip over to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood to go show out over there.
we're just waiting for Marquez to open those doors. Letting the fans back in there, so we can be like, okay, I want to see Championship Hollywood and Memphis collide, have a cross promotion. Why not? I would love to see you and Ray Rosas. Why not? That's the
absolutely. Yeah, man, he's so talented too. They got so much talent over there. Yeah, I'm just about to tell Marquez, just pick out your best and put him in the ring, and I'll meet him there.
That's right. That's awesome, man. So, how, speaking of championships, how did that relationship came between yourself and Dustin? So, how did that become in fruition of you producing and,
I'll go back a little bit further. I'll tell you how the relationship with Dustin in general started. Dustin and I were kind of like parallel for many years. I was always the guy who could, who went out to outwork everybody. And Dustin was, on the other side of the river, and he's going out there and tearing the house down with all these different people. And it's crazy because, this is pre-internet time. So, people weren't able to contact other promoters or whatever. And both of us got a very wrong impression of ourselves or from each other, from other people. Both of us actually had a reputation of, these guys, they have egos and they think they're better than everybody because they're main eventing shows and they haven't been in the business very long. And both of us. And so we got booked on a show. I don't even remember where the town was. We got booked on a show and both of us kind of went in and we were hesitant with each other. And neither one of us, it wasn't you're the hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, let's put this match together. Let's do this. We go out there and the chemistry is unbelievable. And then it's one of those we both realized, it was kind of that, kind of like the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other.
Oh, yeah.
The old series. We're like, wait a minute. You don't have an ego at all. And he's like, no, you don't have an ego. He's like, man, I think I might like you. And it's, kind of like Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? Yep. But awesome. Everywhere we went, everyone always thought, these guys got to be hard to work with because, they got pushed so young and, they accomplished so much, such little time. But yeah, we're as humble as can be and never been, as you can see, most of this interview, I've talked about other wrestlers because, I want to help other guys get over. And that's just what I love about it. But with Dustin, we wrestled for many years. He worked for me for a company named New Experience Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Where we were doing TV. We were doing live to tape TV and then internet pay-per-views. And I brought him in there. And when I got booked at that place, the owner there, it even said, when I first was planning on bringing you in, everyone said not to do it because you were going to be difficult to work with. He said, you were just the opposite. He said, you're the easiest person to work with. And then when I said something about bringing in Dustin, he said the same thing. And I said, you said the same thing about me. Bring Dustin in. And of course, it's just the same exact thing. Dustin proved that he's, an amazing talent, an amazing guy to work with. So I've known him for many years. And then believe it or not, I seen Dustin posting about championship wrestling for Memphis. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute. Memphis is going to have another wrestling promotion. I was like, I got to find out about this. So I contacted him about, coming on and just being a producer only.
Right.
And I asked him, I was like, man, who's behind that? And he said, well, it's a guy named David Marquez and myself. And I'm like, why didn't you call me? And he's like, well, I didn't know if you wanted to wrestle. And I was like, well, I can produce if you want me to. And he's like, well, if you want to wrestle, you can wrestle too. And I said, well, I can produce an agent and help out. And he's like, yeah, but when you feel like wrestling, I'll make sure that you got a spot there. So, so I was like, okay, you know what? I'll take the first, if you take things off, I was like, but I'll help produce and help with times and help get guys over. And I was like, and then I'll get in the ring and wrestle also.
That's incredible. That's fantastic. I'm glad, because just seeing your presence there in championship, even though like watching you, for the first time, but just seeing that presence, I could tell that just the knowledge that you have, what you carry, and how you analyze everything. It sparks. It makes everything looks fantastic. What you do, honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that so much.
And then also my curiosity is now that he started doing with the training at the Wrestle Center. I know it's himself and King Corbin, I believe so, right? That are kind of training the new upcoming. But he has you as well, sometimes as well, or you
absolutely.
Oh, there you
go. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a full-time trainer there, but when the school gets up and going, all it is Dustin. I'm a phone call away, and I'm right there. maybe an hour and a half from where I live, the Wrestle Center, and amazing venue. And yeah, so I mean, I'm there in a heartbeat. I mean, I'll drive an hour and a half and then an hour and a half back, 3 hours, both ways, just to help guys and help teach. But yeah, the trainers there, King Cobra is one of those legends that was not, holding on to that torch and not allowed to pass it. I mean, King Cobra is such a vital point of championship wrestling for Memphis, because he's there to help all the young guys out, and he wants Memphis wrestling to continue. I mean, he knows it's not, his time is gone, so he's able to contribute with the knowledge and so much more, just teaching guys, and just his presence. I mean, he's an amazing human being as well as wrestler. I've said it quite a few times, because I mean, I'm one of those guys, if I meet a guy that's an amazing human being, I'm gonna give him credit for it, and King Cobra, I mean, the first African-American champion there. Yes. Just so, I mean, the rich history himself. We had Jerry Jarrett this past time, and Jerry literally said, "This may be the best locker room I've seen in 25 years." I mean, it's just so I'm so honored to be a part of it. So yeah, I'd be there in a heartbeat. I'm not there. I'm not going to be a full time, with being an hour and a half away. But yeah, we set up certain classes or segments that I need to help come and teach. I'm there in a heartbeat.
Oh man, definitely. And you're right. And I'm glad that I'm happy for Dustin that he brought that back, especially to Memphis, because that was the pinnacle of pretty much professional wrestling. And, right. With the Mecca and, with the Dundees, with the King, with the Cobras, it's like, I'm glad that it's back. And I'm glad that with the roster that you guys have, like you said earlier, they haven't seen nothing yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing once, everything gets situated. I'm hoping he gets more time to, instead of an hour, hopefully get a 2-hour show going, and it's better storytelling, than what we see, like a sneak peeks. But I'm definitely looking forward for that.
Yeah, I mean, we've only scratched the surface. It's one of those, we're not going to run out of stories or talent, I promise you. This upcoming taping that, has not even aired yet, so I'm not going to give any spoilers away, because, Doctor Strange seen Infinity War and Endgame, 17 million times, and he didn't spoil it, so I'm not going to either.
Exactly. So, I know.
There's a couple tag matches on there. There's one in particular. You'll know when you see it, but there's one in particular that changed the way I thought about tag team wrestling. I mean, so much talent you would not be able to believe. And then one of my matches on it, man, we tore the house down, and it's going to be one of those where you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, this is a TV match, not pay-per-view. What the heck's going on? But yeah, and I love the fact that, going forward, I'm going to be able to pick out guys in that locker room that I feel like deserve TV time and deserve to show what they can do, and so I'm going to take them out there and we're going to lace them up and show the world exactly what championship wrestling has.
Exactly. And I love it. By God, I love it, man. So I wanted to ask as well, throughout your career, I feel you just scratch the surface yourself still. You have a lot more to go to, right. What you would like to accomplish. But what have you have accomplished by far in your career? Which one has been your defining moment, prior to what it is currently now? Even though you haven't scratched the surface yet, but I mean, what has been your defining moment as, throughout your career?
Man, there's so many things I'm proud of, whether it's many of the matches with Jerry Lynn, the match with Ricochet, being able to step in the ring with Nick Aldis for the NWA heavyweight title and to touch the title, the 10 pounds of gold. I mean, I've got goosebumps right now. Oh, I mean, just because I love the business so much. Believe it or not, I don't know what would be my pinnacle moment, because I think the whole thing, what I'm most proud of in wrestling is 22 years and I've not injured one opponent. Knock on wood, but I've never injured an opponent, and that's what I'm most proud of. But as far as matches or moments or something like that, and being able to help a guy like Marko, get to the Lost in New York and then to AEW, and then, and to being able to step in the ring with a guy like Ricochet and being able to, his family being there and him being able to do, everything that he wants to do and really show out and, and make his family proud, being able to be that guy that he could do it with. Like Jimmy Hart told me, he's like, I'll be honest with you. He said, the best wrestlers in the world aren't the guys on TV that you see main event and champions. He said, they're the guys that goes out there and has Big Show's match one night, and then Shawn Michaels match the next night, and then Triple H's match the next night. And then the next night they're out there wrestling, the 1, 2, 3 Kid or X-Pac or whoever. It's the guy that can wrestle different styles with different people and can make each one of them look good. Those are the best wrestlers in the world. And that's what I've been most proud of is, being respected and honored by my peers as being one of the best in the world. The best of the best was actually, I got it from the old karate movie from the 80s and 90s, the best of the best. But, that was, someone, told me to start going by that. And then I was called the human highlight reel. I never even used that myself. It was given to me by my peers, and just being able to earn those guys respect that, come to me for advice or come to me when they want to have their best match ever, being able to, have those guys come to me and say, hey man, I want to tear the house down. I want to have my best match ever. Will you wrestle me? I mean, that's the honor, that's just what I'm most proud of, is just earning my peers' respect in the ring.
Absolutely. And you earned it. And of course that's why we commend you for that. And even Ambitious, even though we had him on the show, even though he said himself, he highly respects you a lot, and you're like one of his peers, and hopefully, but even though he said if you have unsettled business here, he hasn't finished with you. So
absolutely,
I don't know. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing another, a trilogy between both of you guys. But
I'll give him credit. Van, when I first saw him, I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those pretty boys. This is one of those sports entertainers that I'm just going to tie up and I'm going to hurt him. And yeah, he's not. Van Vicious may be a pretty boy. He is that, but man, he whacks a punch. As a matter of fact, I know your audio podcast won't be able to see that, but yeah, that huge bruise over it. Yeah, that proves that Van Vicious is very dangerous. Yeah, we definitely have unfinished business. I would be honored to step in the ring with him anytime, because yeah, he's not one of those pretty boys that can't do anything. He can go out there and wrestle.
Yeah. And that's why, like, with my other hosts, like, he loved that match, and he said himself, like, we off the air when we spoke to Ben, and like, we would like to see a trilogy. We want to see another rematch, and why not? And I'm hoping this time we'll be able to see it on the Wrestle Facility, the Wrestle Center, and I cannot wait to see that. But I will also want to see, get your hands on, of course, the main man, Derek King. I know you had a history with him, but yeah, you need to get your hands on that man, because he's been dicking and dodging and weaving your, the challenge that you put him. But what's going on with that? I mean, is he that scared of the best of the best?
Man, I would honestly, I would like to tell you, yes, of course he's scared of, the wrestling machine. The guy that's either going to make him tap or he's going to take a nap. But, I mean, Derek is so psychological. I don't think he's scared at all. I think he's playing mind games, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, Derek he got into my head for one. I mean, he got me very, very angry. So, and Derek is so talented. People don't realize the guys that Derek King helped to develop. Guys like Brock Lesnar and Sheldon Benjamin and John Cena, Derek King, was in the ring with those guys. And Derek is so talented. He may be the most talented guy that the majority of the world's never heard of.
Right.
I mean, he is so good. So I'm going to give him credit. The guy's good. So I'm going to be on my A game. I promise you. But yeah, I don't think he's scared at all. I honestly think that he's playing mind games, which hopefully that's going to give me a leg up, knowing that he's trying to play mind games and try to keep him out of my head. But I'm one of those aggressive guys. So he'll probably end up ticking me off to a point where, man, they're going to have to pull me off of him.
I can't wait to see that, though. But we are going to see that. So here's the biggest question for you, because we do have of course, the Grind City Rumble coming up on May 15th. Are we going to see the best of the best walking out, being the first crowned World Heavyweight Champion? Are we going to see that? Are you going to get your hands on Derek King if he participates on that Rumble?
I promise you this. I've already talked to management. I'm in the Rumble, so I'm going to be in the Rumble. And I don't know where Derek is going to be in the Rumble. I know where I'm going to be in the Rumble. And I know that if he's out there when I come out there, he better run. But, yeah, he's going to be my top priority. And then after that, of course, is going to be the Memphis Heritage Championship. That's a title that I'm not going to be able to retire until I have that title around my waist. I promise you that.
Oh, man.
So,
we cannot wait.
So I'm going out to the Rumble, and my first job is to tear Derek King's head off. Toss him over the top. That's my main job. And then after that, like whoever's left in the ring, I'm sorry, and I feel sorry for you. But yeah, Austin Lane's going to be the Memphis Heritage Championship. Now, I'll prove to all of them. I don't care. I don't care if there's 28 other people, because after I already tossed Derek, there's only 28 left. 28 guys and girls are going to find out why I am pillar to post and rope to rope, the best of the best inside that wrestling ring.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. And I'll be rooting for you for sure. Chris and I will be rooting for you. That's for damn sure that you actually win that Rumble, because if you do, we want to have you back in the show. We will love to have you with that title.
Bring the title. Yes, I will bring that title. I'll just next time I'll have it right up here, right up next to some of my toy figures on the wall here. I'll have that big gigantic title right there, right behind me.
Absolutely. Also, well, speaking of girls, if you don't mind me if it's too personal, but
yeah,
I love it that the fact that yourself and your wife actually wrestling together. So did you met her during the time during the independent circuit, you met her, and then you guys become like almost like a tag team? I'm not sure if you guys ever have. But I mean, how is a working relationship like that? From separating home and the business. How's the relationship with that?
Well, you're not going to believe this. Well, first I'll tell you that we did meet in the wrestling business. At the time, she was the show that I met her at. She wasn't actually working the show. Her family, were sitting at ringside, and I'd walked by, and I was a heel at the time. So I told her sister, I said, "I've seen better butts on cigarettes." And she said, and Nikki said she fell in love at that moment because I said it to her sister. And man, I mean, I fell in love. I mean, we've worked in the business for so many years together. We work jobs here together. Me and Nikki are together 24/7, and we never fight. I mean, it's really crazy. A lot of people don't realize that the working relationship. I mean, she's an amazing person and so beautiful. Trust me. Every time I wake up in the morning, I realize that I'm a very good worker because I made that girl, believe that she should be married to me, for one. So right. I outkicked my coverage. I promise you. Yeah, she just the most beautiful woman I've ever met my entire life. The most amazing mom and wife, and so she's my best friend and kind of my partner in crime, and we've tagged so many times together over the years. And she's been right there with me the whole time. And I'm so. I'm so blessed. My entire family has been so supportive over the years, and my wife being in the business, and man, it's just great. I'm living my best life. I really am. I am living the best life I possibly can, and she's a huge part of that.
I love that, man. That's really, really great to have. Honestly, I wish I could have had that with my wife. Like if I was in the business, but no, with me, when I'm watching pro wrestling, she's on the other side of the room. Like, all right, I'll be in my office and fine.
well, I can't really argue with Nikki because if you've seen her guns, Nikki can probably beat the crap out of me. Yeah, she can beat me up. So, I sit there and I'll flex, and she just comes up behind me and she embarrasses me sometimes.
Miss Lane got the gun all right. Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she's got the guns.
That's awesome. So one last question for you now.
Absolutely.
And I know that you still have, actually two more questions after this one. So first, if you could choose your dream opponent from past, from the past and current.
Okay.
Where would you have it, and with who, and what type of match?
So I'll give you one of each because as I'll tell you, growing up, my dream opponent would be, because I've wrestled AJ Styles, you know, and I've wrestled the same show as the American Dragon, you know, Daniel Bryan. My dream opponent would be Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, because he's Mr. Main Event. He's the, you know, and I'm the guy that they always say, you know, you put a big match in front of Austin Lane, and trust me, he delivers. And it just, the two guys, I mean, the guy who delivers every big match at WrestleMania that he's in, and then the guy who delivers every match that he's in, those two guys on the grandest stage of all. I mean, I'm a huge fan of AEW, New Japan. You know, I don't watch much WWE product anymore lately, but WrestleMania is the show. I mean, that's just it really is. So, you know, Shawn Michaels, and honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of match you put Shawn Michaels, you know, in his prime, Austin Lane in his prime, and just give us all the time in the world, and I guarantee you it'd be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
Oh yeah,
and
I believe that.
Yeah. And as far as like right now, I mean, man, there's so many guys that are so talented. But I'll tell you who I want. There's two different guys who I would love to step foot in the ring with, that I think that we would not just create a great match, not just create a memorable match, but create something magical and historic in the ring. There's two different guys that want it, and I don't care if it's an Iron Man match. Just give us all the time in the world to tell our story. You give me two different guys, and one of them is Kazuchika Okada.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And the other is Kenny Omega.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm telling you now that Kenny, the Styles, I mean, I've had so many guys who, you know, even legends of business saying, man, if I ever saw you and Kenny Omega, or you and Okada, man, I don't know. I've had legends saying, man, I'd buy a ticket in a heartbeat for that.
I would too. Why the hell not? I would buy a ticket in a heartbeat. I will fly to Japan to go see you just have a match, because I can just picture it. Could be an hour and 20. Could be an hour and 20 minutes of a match. Because I think the last time they had a match, I think in Dominion, I think it wasn't about that long, about an hour and 20. That was when Okada lost the belt to Omega. Finally, you know.
I think it was right around like 85 minutes.
Yeah,
give me 85 minutes with either one of those guys. And as far as place, man, let's do it. Let's do it at the dome there, the Tokyo Dome. Let's do it. Yeah, WrestleMania would be awesome with those guys too. But I mean, those styles and the style, because I can have the match with AJ or Shawn Michaels and have that type of match, or I can go out there and have the strong style with Okada and Omega, and just being able to do that in the Tokyo Dome with that crowd. It would be magic. I promise you that. It would be magic. That would be my dream match.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps, man. Oh, shit.
Man, I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting the goosebumps too, man. That's just how much I love the wrestling business, man. I want to create for people. I want to, like I said, I'm an artist. I want to create the masterpieces. And it's something that people will remember, because when they leave a show, I want them to say, you know what, that Austin Lane guy, man, he really was the best of the best.
Yes. And that's what you are, the best of the best. And that's what the last question for you, Mr. Best of the Best. What is the goal for Mr. Lane for 2021? What are the goals for 2021?
The goals for 2021 is to, I have several goals. One of them is to become Memphis Heritage Champion. That is, you know, that's a huge goal of mine since I was a kid. So that's one of the top goals right there. The other goals is to have multiple matches a week with you guys, for one, and to create stars, and not, you know, whether it elevates myself with it, that's fine. But I want to elevate and create more stars. My goal in 2021 is for everyone in the country to know who the Young Goats, the Skimmerhorns, you know, the Crowleys, you know, Dustin Starr, Alan Steele. I want everyone to know who those guys are, because I promise you they deserve it. You know, go out and support them. And my goal is to step in the ring with those guys and make them work, and, you know, make them sweat a little bit. But yeah, we're going to go out there and make magic. That's what I want to do. I want to make magic and create stars. That's my goals in 2021.
That is fantastic because, yes, we're looking forward for that. And, of course, we would love to have them out here on the show. Why not? They, like how you said, yeah, they need to be known out there. They need to be exposed. They need to. And if they need a platform, we're right here. Because even though we're from the West Coast, it doesn't matter. It could be, everybody's all, nationwide, international-wide. We want everybody to know who everyone is. That is our goal as well.
Yeah. I think before this year ends up, I think I might need to make a trip to Hollywood, to Arizona, Gulf Coast, and our new championship wrestling from Atlanta. Yep. I may have to go out there and let's see who the real best of the best is in the world, especially for United Wrestling Network.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward for that. I'm looking forward for that. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Absolutely.
Oh man, Austin, thank you very much for joining me today, man. It was an honor and pleasure, man, a privilege, and I cannot wait to have you back again. Now, before we let you go, if you let our viewers and subscribers, where can they find you or how can they follow you on the social media platforms?
So, you can find me on Instagram at The Real Austin Lane. I'm on Twitter at Austin Lane 1, like the number 1, not WON, but yeah, Austin Lane 1. And unless you're a jerk or some a-hole, I'm going to follow you back. Chances are, I'll follow you back and interact with you and everything. So yeah, follow me on there. And of course, CW30 CW30 Wrestling on Twitter also, and follow us on all of those different sites. The best of the best Austin Lane on Facebook also. I got a page on there also. So yeah, I interact with people all the time, and if it wasn't for the fans, I would be no one, period. I mean, we all would be no one. So, I mean, I'm there, and I'm going to respect, I'm going to interact with fans, because without them, I mean, I can't do what I love doing.
Indeed. And without you, we would not be, paying attention. So that's the one thing. That's most definitely for sure.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah.
I know. I appreciate you very much for joining us. But yes, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch Mr. Austin Lane, the best of the best, every Saturday on the CW30 YouTube channel or CW30 channel, Central Time, noon Central. Make sure every Saturday, and also do not miss May 15th, the Grind City Rumble. Are we going to see the best of the best walking out, being the first ever crowned World Heritage Champion from Memphis? Are we going to see that? Because we're definitely looking forward to it, and we're going to be rooting for him. So that's a must for sure. And also, the description below will be all his social media platforms where you can follow him, and also his merchandise where you can purchase his merchandise as well. So I'm buying my best of the best shirt for sure. Once that next Saturday, I'm gonna have it ready. I'll be sitting down and be rooting for you. Best believe.
Man, it truly was an honor. I've been listening to you guys. You guys were awesome. It's an honor, coming on here. Yeah, anytime you want me on here, I'm game. I'm here for you.
Oh man, definitely. Actually, we did talk to Van off the air that we should have a debate, have both of you guys on the show.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
we'll
have a debate. Top fives. He had a top five.
Exactly.
He had a top five. So I want to hear your top five. He's talking about top 5 Eddie Guerrero moments. I'm pretty sure you have a top 5 that you want to discuss about. So that's
absolutely
we'll work that out.
I can come up with a top 5 of anything. Trust me. Whether it's Eddie Guerrero moments, Shawn Michaels matches, Ric Flair matches, or top 5 Ghostbusters. I mean, I got it.
Oh yeah, that's a must. We're definitely going to talk for that off the air soon. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Encircle Debate. Once again, this is the host Stevie's wanting to see, and of course, the best of the best future world champion coming up next Saturday. Make sure you tune in. That's the best of the best, Mr. Austin Lane. Say to you guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.